All right, cool. I'm going to address the next three problems. So another miss problem was 8 and 9, which was very surprising, but I can see why. So right here, it says, given the function y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8, place points. A lot of people ask me, do I need to draw the graph? No, you don't. It just says place points, right? On the coordinate plane. To represent the y-intercept in each x-intercept. So it kind of gives you a clue. You have each x-intercept, so you have to place that, and you also need to place the y-intercept. Now, I would say most people didn't get this question right because they just didn't read the problem. So right here we have y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8. Now, I saw a lot of people do this on their paper, and they're like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to find the x-intercepts. I'll do x times x. And I think what two numbers multiply to give me -8, but add to give me 2. So you're like 4 and 2. You're like 2 has to be positive, so 4 has to be bigger. And then we have -2. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to set those equal to 0. And you find out that x equals 2 and x equals -4. So you're like, oh, those are my x-intercepts. I'm going to put a dot for 2 and a dot on -4. And then you just left it blank. You totally ignored the y-intercept. Many people just wrote those two things. No, you can't do that. So if you're like, how do I find the y-intercept? Well, if you know that the y-intercept is when, I'm going to write these right here. When you're like, oh, when x is 0, you're like, what is y, right? So all you have to do is, if you know that the y-intercept has to, when x is 0, you're just going to substitute 0 in for x into the equation. So y equals 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 8. You know this is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, so your y is -8. So you found what that question mark represents. So your answer should be when x is 0, y is -8. And right here we have 0, -8. So you should have a point right there as well. So those are the 3 points. Don't know why people got that one wrong. I don't know how that's about 40% of people got that right. Everyone else, struggle bus. Okay, moving on. So right here we have, given the function y equals this cubic polynomial, place a point on the coordinate plane to show each x-intercept. Okay, so that just tells me I just need to put x-intercepts. And I know this is cubic, so I know this is a clue that I'm going to have maybe possibly 3 x-intercepts because that degree is 3. But we're going to figure that out. That's my prediction. Anyway, so we have x cubed plus 4x squared minus x minus 4. Let's see. I'm going to group these because I see this is cubic. So group, 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 and group. That 2 is supposed to be going in the first parentheses. So right here, I can see what do we have in common. We have an x squared as the GCF, and we get x plus 4. Now here, I need to get the same thing in the next parentheses. So I can see that if I factor out a -1 here, this will become a positive x, and then this will become positive 4. So now I can say, well, these binomials have the same, these binomials are the same, so I can factor those out. So I have x plus 4 times whatever's left over. So I have x squared minus 1. Now, I need to factor these completely. Now, I can see this, x plus 4 is equal to 0, but this right here is a difference of squares. So I know that can become x plus 1 times x minus 1. So then when I set each of those equal to 0, x minus 1 equals to 0, I will realize I will have a x-intercept at -1 and an x-intercept at positive 1. And right here, an x-intercept at -4. So those are the 3 points I should have. 1, 2, 3, 4. -4, 1 dot right there, 1 at -1, and then 1 at positive 1. Don't know how many people missed that, but it was highly missed. Hopefully we can grow from this. Okay, last question. Okay, so it says Marcelo has the graph of a function. He has determined using the zeros the equation of a function. So that's important. That looks pretty important to me. So there we have this function. He can also see that f of 2 equals 60 is a point on the graph. What value of c will complete Marcelo's equation? Okay, well, this is just us figuring out what are our key information. Right here, this is f of 2 equals 60. So this just means when x is 2, y is 60, right? When your input is 2, your output is 60. So I understand like the tricky part of this problem is probably just recognizing the notation, right? Like all of this f of x, like how do I thought sometimes you substitute a 2 here. You just have to pause and think, okay, if you are given a point, that means that you have to think about, okay, this is your y, or sorry, this is your input, and then this is your output. So right here, so since 60 is our output, that's what this equation should equal to, 60, because that's our output. Okay, and then our input is 2. So every time I see an x, I'm going to substitute 2. Okay, so now I have 2c times 4 squared, which is 4. 4 minus 9 is negative 5. So then I can multiply these here. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10c. And then we have 60. Now I need to isolate c, divide by negative 10, divide by negative 10. c equals negative 6. And that is your answer. Now, this right here, probably the hardest part for everyone is just reading and understanding the notation. So it says a point, right? So when you see a problem like this again, just make sure that you label and say, oh, this is my x, this is my y, this is my input. So I'm going to write also input right here. My input and then my output. And then you have all your information there. If you have a point, you are golden. You have an equation and a point, it works. Alrighty, that's it. 12 we'll go over in class if we have time. But most people did really well on number 11. This had like 90% or higher. So you all are either really, really strong in understanding remainder theorem or really good at long division. So great job. Great job. This one as well. This one had 80% or higher. So you all are, the harder questions you all did very well. Here, we just need some work on our basics. So this is our area that we need to grow in. Okay, study this, review it. You're going to have your quarter exam by the end of the week. See you all next time this week. Bye-bye.